Directions for your symmetrical skyscrapers. You will begin with a folded sheet of paper, drawing your skyscraper, and we're only going to draw half of it. And a few fingers from the bottom. Make sure that you know which side is folded, because the middle of your building will be on the folded edge. So probably 5 or so fingers from the top, you're going to create the bottom part of your building and kind of create a square or rectangle shape. Everyone's is going to be a little different. Stop your line about a finger from the open edge. And if you're doing this with the opposite hand, it will be opening on the other side. But make sure the middle of your building will be on the fold. Next, to create some interest, we will add some repeating lines, 2 of them, about a finger's amount of space apart on our square shape or rectangle shape. Make sure that you take your time, and it should be about a finger's amount of space between each of these repeating lines. The second part of your building will be kind of a rainbow shape, so you're only going to draw half of a rainbow, and it will probably be about 4 or 5 fingers from where your rectangle is. So start on the folded edge and draw just half of a rainbow that goes almost to the edge of your square. And just like the first one, we're going to create 2 more repeating lines that are about a finger's amount of space apart. And then we'll add the top part of our building. You can start from the very tippy top corner, depending on how high you went up, or you don't have to start up so high. And same thing, 2 repeating lines. If you want, you could do a different shape for the top of your building. Maybe you would like to do a skinny rectangle instead of half of a triangle. And right now we have half of our building with the fold in the middle. When you're done creating your pencil lines, use a black Sharpie to very carefully retrace those lines. Don't skip any of them. Make sure to double check that you didn't miss anything. And really take your time to keep your lines as straight as you can. Next, we're going to cut out our building with our paper still folded. And make sure you're holding your scissors correctly. And when we cut, we're not cutting quite next to the black line. We're leaving a little bubble cut. We're leaving a little bit of colored paper remaining. This will make adding our lines much easier. Remember that your scissor hand is just kind of opening and closing, and the hand that's holding the paper is going to gently steer the paper in the correct direction. When you're done cutting, as long as you cut with the folded edge in the middle, you'll have a symmetrical building. You're going to take a pencil and then add the rest of your lines as close to the ones that you drew originally. And you're not drawing quite next to the edge, you're leaving a little bubble space just like you did on the other side where you cut it out. Very carefully add these lines, and then later you'll go back and retrace very carefully with Sharpie marker. Once you're done creating your skyscraper building, you're going to flip it over and you're going to add dots of glue along the entire edge. When you open your glue, hold with one hand on the white and twist with your other hand on the orange until that white dot on the top disappears. Carefully add small dots all the way around, not too much because we don't want it squishing out when we add our next details. It's also very important to make sure the straight edge of the bottom of your building lines up with the bottom edge of your black paper, and then gently massage it to get it nice and stuck down. Using oil pastels, white or yellow, or even a combination of both, you can add details in your sky, such as a moon. You start with kind of a smiley face shape, and then you make a little bit smaller smiley face shape on the inside to create a crescent moon. I'm using a mixture of white and yellow because I think it shows up a little bit better on the black paper, but if you want to use just yellow or just white, that's fine. Make sure your moon isn't too tiny. You should be able to fit 1 or 2 fingers in that space. And remember, if you want to do your moon different, you want it to be round, that's okay too. Then you can go ahead and add stars all around your building space. You can go right on the sides, on the top, all around it. Fill up your background with lots of cool stars. And for the final details, we'll add small squares of paper to create windows and doors. Just use small dots of glue when you're gluing, and try to straighten your squares so they're not crooked when you're gluing them down before your glue dries. If you need to cut more squares, you can use strips of paper to cut small squares that are probably the size of your fingertip, maybe a little bit larger. Then arrange them however you choose and glue them down. When you're finished, place your artwork on the drying rack.